Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second webinar this summer for our new students and families, our undergraduate students at Clark University. We're excited to meet with you today to talk about some upcoming deadlines and highlight some things that will be happening regarding academic advising and registration for classes, your bill, and understanding kind of all of the emails that you are receiving, as well as information about jobs on campus and applying for jobs and your health forums and some additional reminders for things that are upcoming. I'm Danielle Morgan Acosta, she, her pronouns. I serve as the Associate Dean of Students for Student Engagement and Belonging. And I'm so excited that you all will be in campus in less than 2 months. So to get us started, would love to introduce all of the presenters that I have with us today that will be sharing some information. And we will go ahead and turn it over to Jess.
Hi there, I'm Jess Ahrens. I'm the Assistant Director of Academic Advising, and I use they, them pronouns.
Go ahead, Brandon.
I thought Chris was going to be next. Hi, my name is Brandon Frensick. I work with Jess in the Academic Advising Center, and I'm also Assistant Director, and very excited to be here tonight. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Chris Bostek. I am a student account counselor in the student account office, and welcome to everyone.
Hi everyone, I'm Julie Bolduc. I'm the Director of Career Operations and Student Employment in the Career Center, and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm excited to be here tonight. Thank you.
Great, thanks everybody. We have so much information for you all to cover. Just some housekeeping. We do ask that you use the Q&A feature. Should you have any questions, feel free to ask those as folks are presenting. We'll be typing responses and also be answering questions for the entire Zoom at the end of the formal presentation. We are recording this. Usually they are posted on the orientation and new student website within 24 hours. So we are going to start with Jess and Brandon with academic advising, and then we'll kind of continue to go on. This is based on a lot of questions that we know that you may have or some additional information that may be useful. And so I'm going to go ahead and ask academic advising to get us started.
Thank you so much, Danielle. So as Brandon and I mentioned, we're both assistant directors in the Academic Advising Center. And as Danielle mentioned, we're going to be chatting a little bit about course registration and about some of the requirements and things to keep in mind as you select courses and register for courses. So as you all are probably familiar with the to-do list on the welcome page, it has a lot of really great deadlines and things to keep in mind. So a few deadlines that have already passed are completing the writing placement process, which was due on June 6th, completing the math placement test if you're planning to take a math course at Clark, or if you're planning to take a psychology statistics course, which requires the math placement test, as well as your advisor information form. So if you haven't already completed those forms, that's the first thing you're going to want to do is to go back to that to-do list and make sure that those forms are all set. And then the next step is to complete the advising registration tutorial on Moodle. So that sort of platform includes a lot of important information, including an overview of the curriculum at Clark, graduation requirements, major and minor courses. It'll really give you a broad overview of how to select courses. And within that tutorial, you'll have an opportunity to review the available courses for the fall and complete what we call the course selection worksheet, in which you'll identify which courses you want to take in the fall, as well as some alternative options in case your first choice options fill up. So it's really important to log onto that, to read through those different tutorials, and to upload your course selection worksheet. Once you upload your course selection worksheet, you'll be prompted to schedule an appointment with your summer advisor. One thing to keep in mind and to note, I know we've been getting a lot of calls and a lot of emails. We're still in the process of assigning summer advisors. So if you haven't heard from an advisor yet, if you don't see that in the tutorial yet, no worries. Please know that we are working really hard. We look through your interests that you explained on your application. We look through your advisor information form, and we find you an advisor that's tailored to you. So it's a long process. Please rest assured that it is being done, and that you should hear from your advisor by early next week. So it's just something you can keep in mind. If you haven't been assigned an advisor yet, don't worry. So the way that it works is once you schedule an appointment with your advisor, those typically start after July 11th. And during that meeting, you'll have an opportunity to review your course selection worksheet, talk about your academic interests, and then actually register for courses during your time with your advisor. So as I mentioned, that starts on July 11th. So again, you have plenty of time. The only sort of caveat there is if you're a in-season student athlete or you're registered with Student Accessibility Services, then course registration has already begun for you, and you should have already heard from your advisor. So that's just sort of an overview. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to chat, but Brandon's going to talk a little bit more specifically about some requirements to keep in mind as you're choosing courses.
Hi, everyone. Jess, I was trying to field some of those questions. I did a couple. So basically what Jess said is absolutely accurate. If you work yourself through your Moodle steps, it's designed to help you choose the courses. Sorry, I don't know why my screen is not showing. It's designed to help you select your courses, determine your interests, and get you ready for your summer advising appointment. I'm going to give you sort of some basics to consider when you are moving through those Moodle stages, and info that'll be super helpful for you before you actually have the opportunity to meet with your summer advisor. So basically, as a first year, you may have an idea of what you want to study or which direction you want to take your education in. That's perfect. We can use courses that you take this first semester to explore that major further to help you decide if that major really is the right major for you. So we highly suggest you using this time to explore all the opportunities and all the majors, minors, and concentrations that are available to you at Clark. Second thing we really want you to keep in mind when you build your schedule is to make sure it's balanced and manageable. I'm a firm believer that your curriculum and your academics really should come first. So sometimes we come across students that tend to want to put all their courses on Tuesday, Thursday, so that they can work the rest of the days. That can really cause issue, as putting all your classes in one day can create a workload on those days that is just unmanageable. So please balance your schedule out through the 5 days and make sure that schedule works for you. In your mind, think, is this going to be a schedule that I can manage in the next 6 months or my first semester at Clark? The course grid, I understand there's a lot of options there. And as a first year, you do realize that the seniors registered the juniors, the sophomores. So what's available to you are a lot of 100-level courses, which is ideal for you to take your first semester at Clark. But what we're asking you to do is to sort of plot out a schedule, write the times down so that they work together before you meet with your summer advisor, and have a few backups, because courses, unfortunately, they do tend to fill up quickly. And I can guarantee you, as you move forward at Clark, course selection gets easier and easier because you're climbing up in terms of being a sophomore, junior. Your registration dates are earlier. Also, courses to consider: every first-year student at Clark is expected to participate in a first-year intensive. So make sure one of your courses that you're selecting is a first-year intensive. And Program of Liberal Studies, or PLS requirements. Those are basically Clark's way of our students leaving Clark well-rounded outside their major. So PLS requirements we'll cover in the next slide. And then the link you're seeing right there is the link to the course grid for courses that are available for you for fall 22. Slide. All right, so let's just touch base on Clark's basic degree requirements. So in your time at Clark, just considering you being a true first year having 0 credits, you will complete 32 units over the course of 4 years. A student at Clark typically takes 4 classes a semester for 8 semesters for a total of 32 units or 32 classes. In this time, and in order to graduate, we expect that you will maintain a GPA of 2.0 in order to achieve that degree. Anything below that 2.0 does fall into sort of probationary territories. In order to graduate your degree at Clark, you're also going to need to complete all those PLS requirements, that program of liberal studies that does ensure that you leave Clark as a well-rounded student. And on top of those PLS requirements, you have to complete your major requirements. And in some cases, students can choose double majors or maybe a minor or a concentration. All those requirements would need to be met in order to complete your degree at Clark. Slide. So let's get into sort of the topic of the Clark curriculum and the PLS requirements. So the courses here that every student needs to take are listed in front of you right now. The prospective courses are listed on the left side. Typically, those perspectives all end in a P. Global perspective, then you'll have your natural science perspective, your values perspective, historical perspective, which that really should be an HP, I'm sorry, so that is a typo there. Aesthetic perspective is an AP, typically art-related classes. Language and culture perspective is the LP. So those perspectives define sort of the curriculum outside your major that we want you to develop while you're with Clark. Then on the right side of this slide, you're going to see critical thinking courses. So formal analysis courses, you'll need to take an FA course. That's typically like a higher level writing class, sort of comparable to an English Comp 1 and 2 at other schools. And the formal analysis really, I'm sorry, I've totally confused this. Formal analysis is the math-related courses. Verbal expression of the writing-related courses where they relate to English Comp 1 and 2. Based on your writing placement test will determine if you would need to take a VE level course or if they were requiring you to preface that course with a lower level course. Our diversity and inclusion requirement is an opportunity to learn about diversity and inclusion in the world. And it's personally one of my favorite course selections in our options because it really does give our students a well-rounded understanding of diversity and inclusion. And then at the very bottom there, you're seeing your first year intensive. So your first year intensive is a course designed, so the FYI is an actual subject course, and that FYI faculty will become your first year academic advisor. So they're gonna, after summer registration, moving forward, once classes begin, they will be your academic advisor and they will meet with you to discuss courses, and they will also be the person responsible for releasing your PIN number so that you can register for courses. And just in addition to first year intensives, they are paired with a navigator section where students will work with a peer mentor to discuss things on campus like student activities or resources like tutoring and all other tools that help students be successful in their first year. Okay, AP standing, dual enrollment credits. So a lot of you may have taken AP courses or dual enrollment courses while you're in high school. This is fantastic. We love this. This gives you an advanced standing placement at Clark. We typically accept up to 4 units of advanced standing credit. So what that means is we typically accept 1 AP class for one unit class at Clark. So an AP class equals 1 class at Clark. Typically, we accept a maximum of 4 units for AP credits. And those AP credits that you bring in, for example, say you bring in Biology 101, that would also come in as Bio 101, and it would fill your SP, your science perspective. So, and you're allowed for these AP courses to fill up to 2 of your PLS requirements. And just to sort of give you a brief understanding, Clark runs on a 4-credit system. So each 1 unit course really has 4 credits behind it. Most schools typically have 3-credit courses. And when those courses transfer into Clark, they'll come in at 0.7 units. Your AP class should come in as a full unit. And then in terms of transfer credits, if we have any transfer students on this call, we accept up to 16 units of credit allowed to transfer into Clark. So that's basically 16 credits. And that 16 credits would include any AP classes if you had those as well. So if you have any further questions about dual enrollment, please feel free to ask. And this slide is simply just showing you our location, which is in room 214 on the second floor of the ASEC building. It's the really modern building across the street from the campus. And you can easily access anybody on our team by our general email inbox, advising@clarku.edu. And I will be happy to put my email address in the chat box if you have any questions about anything I said. And that's my piece. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am from the Student Accounts Office, and basically what we do is we help students and their families understand available financing options to pay their bill. There are different ways that families can take care of their bill. And we do issue the semester bills, and we do have monthly statements of activity, as sometimes things can change on the statement as time goes on through the semester, if changes happen to be made by a student for one reason or another. Refund students who have overpaid, there may be a change resulting in a refund, and that would go per the university refund policy. And the refund policy can be found on the student account page each semester on the Clark website. Our office also does prepare the 1098-T tax document during the month of January. And we are also located in the ASIC building. We are on the 3rd floor, and room 318 would be where our main focal point would be if you needed to have a question, and then we could direct you from there to a student account counselor. So general questions, we do have a main phone number, as you can see on the screen, the 508-421-3801. We have our main student account email, saccounts@clarku.edu. And then we do break down by letter group. So we have Laura Maloney that would handle students with last name A through G. Myself, Christine, I would handle last names H through O. And Jane Gendron would handle students with last name P through Z. We, of course, are all happy to help, but this will just give you a person that you can use as a general contact that you can get to know through your time here at Clark. And we do have some key dates for the fall semester. We do have the undergraduate and grad bills that would be available in the area of July 11th. And then bills would be due August 12th. And what it means when we say bills are due is it means what you want to have your account secured as paid in one way or another. It could be paid by a 529 plan. It could be being paid, by a check, online payment. You could be using a payment plan. You could be applying for loans through financial aid. So there are different ways, but what you want to do is use that due date as kind of a date in your mind that you want to have that taken care of as far as your loan approved by then, your payment plans set up by then, etc. So that's what the due date is. It's a guide for you to do that. And we do have payment plans that can be set up right on your portal. And our 5-month plan would go from July to November, and our 4-month plan would go August to November. And each term or semester, there is a $45 setup fee for our payment plan. Next slide. this is just a quick view of what your homepage will look like on our very user-friendly payment center that we have through TouchNet. You'll find this in your CU Web when you go to your student account page. And what's important that I wanted to point out for you is you do have on the right-hand side, My Profile Setup. This is going to be important for you to try and take care of as soon as possible. You probably have some of these things on your to-do list. Authorized users. In order for a parent or somebody that you would like to be able to make payments on your account or receive emails regarding your bill, you are going to want to, you will receive an email, of course, in your Clark email. But if you would like a parent or guardian, something of that nature, to also get that, you really need to set them up as an authorized user. We're unable to speak to anyone regarding a student account other than the student unless you are an authorized user. So this is very important to do, and it's very simple to do. All you have to do is click on authorized user, add an email of the person that you would like to be an authorized user, and then from there they can set up their account. And then we have electronic refunds on the bottom. And again, if our office ever does owe you money, for whatever reason, as you can see, this sample does have a $50 credit. You see the little minus in front, it means it's a credit. And this would say that we owe you a refund of an overpayment or something that created this credit balance. So it's very important to set up your electronic refund account because we want to send that to you. And right here, you can see that sometimes we do owe you money. So we want to make it easy for us to get that to you. And you can set up your direct deposit on your homepage of TouchNet. And as far as your health insurance, Massachusetts, the state of Massachusetts does require everybody to have health insurance. What we do is the health insurance charge, which will this year be $2,345, is added to the fall bill. Each semester it will be added to the bill, and then you would either waive the health insurance or enroll. If you do have health insurance, you may go on our website and waive that health insurance, and that fee will come off your bill. So just be sure that each summer when you get your fall bill that you do waive that. Our policy year is from August 15th of this year to August 14th of next year. So each year, that's the enrollment. If you do need to have our health insurance, you will have it for the year and it will be on your fall bill. They do also offer a dental insurance, but that is something that you can get through university health plans, not through Clark. And then we do have, as I said, the different methods of paying, cash, check, bank check. You can pay online. We have a very easy system on our TouchNet system to make payments with the electronic check payment. There is no fee for that. There is a fee for paying with a credit card, which they will let you know when you're making that payment, what that fee that they're charging is. And then we do offer the payment plans. Any international payments, we have partnered with TransferMate, and that would be for our international payment wires. And then there's also financial assistance through financial aid with private lending and loans. And we do also offer, you will notice when you go on our website with the Payment Center for TouchNet, that they do have a notification that you do have the ability to purchase GradGuard. And this is more of an insurance policy against the education if something is unexpected due to injury or illness and it's disrupted and there is a need to withdraw after the 100% refund date. There is a number that you can call. It is also on our website, and they are open 24/7, 365 days a year, and they're happy to answer any of your questions about this insurance and what it entails. Thank you very much.
Next, we'll talk about student employment. And besides the obvious wonderful thing about working on campus, earning money, there are surprising benefits to working on campus. You can build your skills and experience through, whether it's through a proctor job in our athletic center or an office assistant position in one of our academic departments. Students can learn a lot about the career competencies that they can gain, such as critical thinking, problem solving, and working effectively as a team. It's also a great way to make connections with the campus community. Working with faculty, staff, and fellow students can really secure that connection on campus. And you can learn about your own job preferences as well. Do you thrive working in a busy office atmosphere, or do you prefer focused work? So it's an interesting way to learn more about yourself and your own career preferences. Next slide. So how to search for on-campus jobs. You can log in with the website clarku.edu/handshake. That will bring you to a login button where you can log in using your Clark email address and password, and you'll find a Handshake profile that's already created for you. And you can upload your resume to your Handshake profile in the documents section. And we have Career Lab team members who review all resumes posted by undergraduate students within 1 to 3 days of submission. If you need a template for a resume, if you don't have one yet, we also have templates on our website, which I'll show in the next slide. And once you incorporate the suggestions from our Career Lab team, which will be in the platform that appear right under your resume, you can begin applying to jobs. It's a really good job search strategy to make sure that your resume is in as good condition as it can possibly be, so that you can be a really strong applicant. To find on-campus jobs, you go to the Jobs tab and Handshake, and then click on the Filters button and choose On Campus. And jobs will start to be posted around mid-July, and they'll be approved on a rolling basis throughout August and a little bit into September as well. But the critical point is about mid-July or late July. So start submitting applications early and keep applying until you find a job. Sometimes students apply to 1 to 5 jobs and they kind of cross their fingers and hope they'll get one, but sometimes you need to apply to a lot of jobs to finally land one because there are more students than jobs, so it is very competitive. If you have federal work study in your financial package, it's important to know that any job on campus other than with Sodexo, our dining services contractor, will count as a work study job. In addition, our community engagement office posts work study jobs that are local to the community, and those will specifically be tagged as work study. That's another filter that you can use in Handshake. And your chances of getting one of those jobs is a little bit higher because the pool of applicants is going to be only students with federal work study. And it's important to know that having work study doesn't guarantee a job. So please apply to any job that interests you and keep applying until you get hired. Another great job search strategy is to mention that you have federal work study in your cover letter. And sometimes students start getting a little bit frustrated with the job search application process, or they'd like a little bit more support talking through how does it work? Am I doing the right thing? And you can make an appointment on Handshake to speak with us about that. If you have questions about the student employment program, you can find resources and templates and contact information by going to connections.clarku.edu. From there, you can click on Gain Experience and then Clark Student Employment, and all the information and more that I just gave you will be on that website. And also instructions on how to book an appointment for assistance with on-campus job search are on that page, or you can email oncampusemployment@clarku.edu. And I'll also note that it's really, really important to pack original identification when you're packing with your sheets and everything else. Don't forget to pack original identification to get onboarded, because in addition to filling out tax forms and direct deposit information, you have to present different forms of identification, either a passport or 2 forms of ID, and links to that information are also on the website. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. And everybody. I just wanted to remind folks, because health forms are technically due on Sunday via the online module, which we're very excited about for this year. Hopefully you have already gone to the to-do list or to the health services page directly and downloaded these forms. You'll see your physical examination form that needs to be filled out by a doctor or a medical professional, like your nurse practitioner or somebody. It includes a lot of information about your current physical, as well as we need a lot of information about past tests and vaccines and things that you have had. So you'll see, you'll also need to submit your tuberculosis risk assessment and your immunization form. This one is usually one that you also bring with you to your doctor or your medical professional to fill out the history of all of the shots and kind of other things that you have received, including your COVID information. You also need to submit the form about the meningococcal vaccine. And if you are under 18 and will be under 18 when you start school, there is a consent to treat minors form that needs to be submitted by your parent or guardian. All of these forms should be downloaded. They should be filled out, and then you will either scan them or take a picture of them and upload them into the portal that goes directly to health services. You may have noticed that maybe you submitted those forms, but on your Friday to-do list, checklist email, it still said pending. That is because our nurse practitioners on campus go through all of your forms to confirm that they have all the information that they need. And it is only once the nurses have confirmed all of that, that it will say that you are all set. If they have questions, they will, or if something is missing, or maybe there is a date missing for something, they will email you to your Clark email account so that we can work that out. So please upload those. We know that sometimes folks struggle to make an appointment, and so we know that those will continue coming in, but please upload as much as possible that you have, and we'll continue to remind you about those deadlines and what is missing in the next couple weeks. And so, as you may have noticed, many of our wonderful presenters today were highlighting some of the big upcoming deadlines for all of our incoming undergraduate students. June 26th, which is this Sunday, the health forms are due. Registration for orientation. Orientation is the official kickoff to coming to campus for the first time. You'll get to meet your peer mentor. You'll get to meet all of your classmates. We have a lot of programming and opportunities for you to connect with the university and some of our traditions. There is a Qualtrics form on the to-do list that you need to submit about attending orientation, particularly if you are a student participating in some of those other programs, and we need to get just a little bit more information from you so that we can make sure that you have a wonderful experience when you arrive to campus in August. June 26th is also the deadline to upload your photo for your Clark One card. Your Clark One card will stay with you throughout your entire experience at Clark University. It does everything for you. It helps you eat on campus. It gets you into buildings. It helps you print things. It is your identification, and we need that photo of you uploaded so that we can print that card so that it is here for you when you come to campus. And so that is, those are big deadlines for this weekend that we ask all of our incoming undergraduate first year and transfer students to complete. And then July 11th is our next big deadline, which is by the time that most of our students will have scheduled a meeting with their advisor to register for classes, which we started this presentation with. July 11th will also be your opportunity to access your bill online. Students, you may have noticed that student accounts have been sending you emails about this process and some of the information that Christine shared with us earlier about authorized users and health insurance and payment plans and all of those other pieces. July 11th is also the deadline to confirm or waive your health insurance. So if you are using, if you are a domestic student and using your family's health insurance, you need to tell us that through that form. Otherwise, you need to accept the health insurance so that all of our students on campus are insured and have access to the medical things that they will need. So continue to look at that to-do list. It has all of the information and all of the links for all of these upcoming deadlines to make sure that you are getting closer and closer to being a student at Clark, which is so exciting. We have had some great questions, and so I know many of them have been answered in the chat. Also want to make sure that we vocalize some of those. And I think we started off with academic advising, so we might start back off with those because I did see a few questions. And so don't know, Brandon or Jess, there were just some questions about how many classes a student takes each semester and why that is and what a class might mean. And so why don't we start there?
Okay, so do you see me? Do you hear me? Okay, there we go. I feel, sorry, I was blocked the whole time, so I feel silly there. So at Clark, the average workload for a student is 4 courses per semester. And a lot of people ask why that is. Well, Clark classes are a bit more intense than traditional or other schools that offer 3 credits per course. Clark offers 4 credits per course, but we refer to them as units. It's just easier that way. It makes more sense. So you need 32 units to graduate. And that really means 32 classes. And at Clark, all classes, I mean, we do have a few classes that run at 0.5 classes, which are sort of specialty classes. But for the majority of our courses, they're 1 unit each, whether they have a lab or not. And I hope that answers some of the questions.
I think that's great. As we continue, I think there was a question about the difference between classes and credits and units. And how would a transfer student or any student know what's the difference between them, or what is 3 and 1 and some of those technical details?
So when you transfer into Clark, there's a whole team of us. We're called the TEC, Transfer Equivalency Committee, and we review your transcripts. And some schools like WPI have a quarter system where they, have 2 semesters, whereas we have 1 semester. So they're all broken down differently, and we consider that when we're bringing your classes in. So as a transfer student, say you took a semester at Quinsigamond College, you took 5 classes a semester at 3 credits apiece. Each of those 3 credit courses will still come into Clark representing whatever that course was. It just will only be assigned 0.75 unit. And you do need to keep that into consideration because it is possible technically as a transfer to complete all your course requirements, your major requirements, your PLS requirements, and still need credit. Because a 0.75 class, say we took in Calculus 1 from Quinsig for 0.75 unit, that will still fill your formal analysis requirement, even though it's not at the full unit. So you just really need to take a look at the statement you should have received from your transfer admissions counselor, and or you can definitely go over this with your summer advisor because they have access to everything that you transferred in and what it came in as. We do our best to equate the courses you come in that you bring into Clark to equate it to a course that we have at Clark. Even though the credits might not be the same, we still associate that course to fill that requirement. So if you took psych stats and you're a psych major, psych department will review that syllabus to make sure it meets all the standards of the course we run, and we'll accept that to fill. But it'll just be, at the end of the day, 0.75 units, which really just contributes to that 32 units you need to graduate.
There is a question about, there's a few questions about the Moodle site for students and if they should select the classes that they want to take or maybe some classes that sound interesting to them before they meet with their advisor, and how exactly they are able to get connected with their advisor to schedule an appointment.
So I'm going to let Jess take the piece about getting you connected to your advisor, but before that, okay, you do that part and then I'll go into the other part.
Awesome. Yeah, so the Moodle is a multi-step process. And the first step is really reading through those tutorials, reading about information about what classes to take, different requirements, things like that. Then you'll be asked as part of step 1 to upload your course selection worksheet. Then once you once you submit your course selection worksheet, you'll be given access to a booking link where you can schedule an appointment with your advisor. So I know there was a couple questions about welcome emails and things like that. As long as you've been assigned an advisor and their information is showing up for you in step 2 of the Moodle site, you can go ahead and click on that link and schedule an appointment with them. So you don't need to wait to hear from your advisor. If you're in step 2 and it says your advisor hasn't been assigned yet, just know that you'll hear back within, like I said, early next week, and you'll see their information and their link there. There was another question in the chat here that I thought might be easier to answer live, which was how to know which classes to fill in. And again, that Moodle site's really going to talk you through different things to keep in mind. Sort of the basic things to keep in mind is you'll want to, if you're a first year student or a transfer student with less than 8 units, you'll need to register for at least one first year intensive course. So that's one of your courses that'll already be sort of set aside. Some things to keep in mind are your major. So if you're interested in certain majors, you may be interested in psychology or education, you'll want to look at the introductory courses for that. So you're really looking for courses that start with a 0 or with a 1 in your major interests. And then the other thing to keep in mind would be your PLS requirements. So in the course grid, you'll see which attribute they hold. So be thinking about, okay, maybe you want to take a history and get your HP perspective, or maybe you want to take an arts class and get your AP perspective. So those are really the sort of 3 categories of courses that you should be thinking about as you're filling out that course selection worksheet, which you will fill out before you meet with your advisor.
And the course selection worksheet is just that. It's a worksheet. You can't mess it up. It really is just a way for your advisor to go in and prior to your appointment to get to know you and to see what you're interested in. If your advisor sees an issue with some of the classes that you've suggested, they'll definitely talk you through that. But, the PLS requirements, say you're an undeclared student, you really just don't know exactly which path you want to take. It's the perfect opportunity because those perspectives, those PLS requirements are all the different areas of study at Clark. So you can just dabble in different things to sort of teach yourself what it is that you love, that you'll be happy doing, as a career. So there's no real wrong answer. I mean, we'd love you to focus on some PLS requirements. We'd love you to work on your VE because that's sort of something you should take care of your first year. That's basically your English Comp 2 or your English Comp 2 level type class. So, I mean, your summer advisor is really going to guide you. But for this, we really, really, really want you to find yourself and explore and use this opportunity because Clark expects students to declare their majors by the end of their sophomore year.
Thank you both. There are some questions about bills. I know some of them have been answered, but wanted to also share some of them. So maybe Christine and then Jennifer, we might need some support because there's been some financial aid questions. So there was some questions about paying for the bill and particularly paying for student health insurance with a 529 or some other kind of tuition fund.
Yes, the student account balance will include the health insurance. So the fall bill will have your complete bill that will be due all in one place. And we have had, many payments will come in from 529 plans that are paying the balance due, and the health insurance would be included in that balance.
There were some questions about understanding work study loans and maybe scholarships that students have received from outside of Clark or the federal government, and how do those come to Clark and how can they use them to pay their bill?
I can definitely answer about the scholarship process, and then maybe Jennifer can help with the other part at the beginning. But I was, as far as scholarships, if you do have a scholarship, you'll want to send the paperwork of the scholarship. We want to know that you have a scholarship coming. Who is it from? What are the details and the amount? And that would go to financial aid so they can update that in your record at finaid@clarku.edu. Then when they make the payment, they'll want to be sure that the check is mailed to the Clark address. We can offer that to anybody that needs that. And it would be Clark University, and it's very important that they put student accounts on that as a department, so they know where to send the check, and then the 950 Main Street address 01610. And also with scholarship checks, we want to be sure they have, it's ideal if they can have the student name and the student Clark ID number, but at least the Clark ID number on that. So we just be, we can be sure that it gets applied to the account as efficiently as possible.
Thank you.
And the other question was about loans and how scholarships help get applied through financial aid, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Lawton, and I work in financial aid. The reason that we want you to let us know about outside scholarships is that we're doing a new process this year. We're actually going to add that scholarship as a fund on our financial aid side of the house, so that when we transmit that information over to student accounts, it will show up as an anticipated credit on your bill and will reduce the amount that you owe. So you'll be able to, you'll know that you're mailing it in once bills are viewable, and once your aid is viewable on our new system, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Check it every once in a while, and you'll see, oh, I see there's a new private scholarship added for the amount that I sent in the information in for just recently. So good, they know about it. So we are trying to make it a little bit more transparent for families to know and see that those funds are actually reducing the amount due. In terms of loans, I think I saw a question saying, how do I figure out what to ask for a loan if I don't know what my bill is going to be yet? Well, I mean, you really need to wait to see your bill. If you want to do some research right now, you can go to our website. If you go to our website and just look for financing options, you'll be presented with a couple different options. One is a Parent Plus loan. That's actually the sister loan to the federal direct student loans that are on the Students Award Letter. It is a federal government loan. It is a loan to parents to help pay for the education, and the parent can actually borrow our cost of attendance. That's our financial aid cost of attendance, tuition, room, board, an allowance for books and travel and that kind of thing, minus any other financial aid. So it is possible through either a plus loan or a private loan that other people have mentioned to borrow enough money to actually cover just about the entire bill. There could be some exceptions when a student has work study that they're planning to use, but if you're really interested in covering the bill with a loan that you're hoping to borrow, the best thing you can do is contact us and make an appointment to speak with one of our counselors or our loan counselor, so that we can help you calculate that fund, the amount that you might need to borrow, keeping in mind that we have to take into consideration what you'll need for the spring as well. So we need to, you first need to be able to see the bill. It's always better to ask for a little bit more than you think you'll need, because we can always adjust these loans down after the fact. If you don't ask for quite enough, and we've gotten to a certain point in the process, then you actually have to do a whole nother application in order to apply for that a bit extra. And that generally is an additional sort of credit inquiry if you're worried about your credit scores, FICO scores. So we always advise people to ask for a little bit less, and we can always adjust it down. And we're just getting into this processing season now. And just a little bit about what I was just saying about we have a new system coming up. In the next several days before the bills are due to be published, in your CU web right now, when you go, you really don't have an option to look at your award letter. The award letter that you're basing your, the award letter that you have from us is contained in an email, very fancy red and white, you might remember it. And that's your award right now. Very soon, in the next several days, you'll actually be able to see that award letter when you go into CU Web as well. We're in the very final stages of getting our new system up and running, and one of our last pieces of data to post is that award letter. So you should be able to see it there very soon. You probably can already see your documents, any documents that we might need. But we will have that there soon. That will be there in time for the bill. And then when you do see the bill, you'll also see any fall financial aid sitting there as a anticipated credit against that bill, so you get a bottom line number. Hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Jennifer. That was a lot of information. There was some questions about work study. And I know that we saw some pieces that work study is on the award letter, and that work study is paid to students for jobs on campus. So was just hoping that folks might be able to explain a bit more about work study positions on campus or working on campus and how that fits into their financial aid.
Do you want me to take this, Julie?
Sure, Jennifer, go ahead, thanks.
Okay, all right. So when I talk about working at Clark, I like to make the distinction that there's basically two pots of money, if you will, that we pay students out of. One is federal work study, and that's based on an assessment of your financial need per the federal regulations for work study in your award. And then the other pot of money is just as large, just about, they're almost identical, in fact. And it is non-work study jobs. So your student is hired for a job. The office that they're working for says, I can pay you $4,000 for the year. When you look at that student's award letter, it says that they have $3,000 in federal work study funding available to them. So your student gets a job through the process that Julie talked about, and they work throughout the year. And when they get to the point where they are up to the point where they are earning that $3,000, they will be working as a federal work study student. And then once they earn that, the $1 over that, we will automatically internally switch them over to that non-federal work study fund. So one of the questions was, is $3,000 all you can earn? And you can earn more, except that we do have some limits during the semester in terms of how many hours you can work a week. For our students on this call, or families on this call who might be international, you would not have federal work study listed on your award letter. However, your student can work on campus. In fact, international students can only work on campus. So they should also be looking for jobs. And in terms of payment, a lot of people do, because we list federal work study on your award, we try to make it as clear as we possibly can that it doesn't actually pay your bill. A federal work study is an opportunity for your student to work on campus and earn a paycheck to hopefully cover some of those expenses we all know that we have when we go to college. Maybe there's a new book to buy, or maybe we need some printer ink or a printer repair, even a little bit of pocket money to go out to pizza with friends on a Friday night, that kind of thing. So that money that they're earning in their paycheck is meant to kind of cover some of those non-billed expenses, is what we call them. So that is why it doesn't reduce the bill directly, even though some people think it does.
Thank you so much. There is a question about transfer credits or those AP credits, and if they contribute to a student's GPA.
So the only external credits that will ever contribute to your GPA are courses through the consortium. And those pretty much go on your transcript like you took them at Clark. So a transfer course coming from any other school will only come in as credits and not with the GPA.
I know we've talked about this in previous webinars, particularly about the AP for the writing placement, but how does getting credit for an AP that was just taken, like say in April or May of this year, work in terms of the credit or like the classes that a student might not need to take in the fall semester?
So if they just took it, it may take a little while to get the paperwork. I mean, the student would ideally need to have that test score sent over from the college board. And if that process is going to take time, I would just suggest the student talk to their summer advisor and say, hey, like, we're not going to know if you're taking, say you just decided to take a class somewhere else over the summer just to get the feel of a college level class. We won't know that. So make sure to just open up about those situations at Clark. If your advisor goes over your degree audit with you and you mention to them that you think you should have like AP credit or what have you, just make sure to have those conversations, because we won't know if they're not in the system. And if paperwork is in transit, we just won't see that. So once you send them over, they get processed, and transfer credits, again, they get processed and see if there's a Clark equivalent, and then they get put onto your degree audit. So the degree audit system at Clark is new. I think sometime by spring semester, you should have full access to see everything you took and where it stands in a very user-friendly way. So we're working on that as well.
The only other thing I will add is, so if you took AP English Literature in the spring and scored a 4 or 5, you may not even know your grades at this point, but just keep in mind that if you were to score a 4 or 5 on AP Literature last spring and send us that score, that would qualify for your writing placement. But if you took it this spring, we won't get the results. Typically, we get them in late July or early August is when they actually make their way to our office. So make sure you're completing the writing placement, even if you took AP Literature in May, because we won't be able to base your writing placement off of those AP results since we don't have them. The other thing to keep in mind is that at Clark, you're not able to earn credits for courses that you take more than once. So for instance, if you score a 5 on AP Psychology, it transfers in as Psych 101. If you decide you want to take Psych 101 here at Clark, just keep in mind that you wouldn't be able to earn credit for both. So it will fulfill a Psych 101 prerequisite, and it would fulfill that if it was a major requirement or anything like that. So it will appear on your transcript as if you took that course at Clark and would fulfill any prerequisites or major requirements that course would fulfill. So as Brandon mentioned, it's really important that you talk with your summer advisor about your dual enrollment courses, about your AP credits, so that they have an understanding of what courses will already be on your transcript, because that way you're not sort of redoing courses.
And if you did by chance take a course over at Clark, because I just came across this situation, the grade you get in the Clark class will trump the transfer class. So that then will be a part of your GPA. And in terms of the English piece that we were just speaking about, there's your summer advisor is not going to force you into a VE course anyway. So they sort of want you to explore your major, work on some PLS, but it's not like something that absolutely has to be taken your first semester. So if you let them know you may have outstanding AP credit, they'll just work around that and hold off on that VE level course if there's a potential you're going to fill it.
Great, thank you both.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Was a question about how much jobs pay on campus. Maybe also how many hours maybe many of our jobs are on campus as well.
Yes, so all jobs pay at least minimum wage, and there are some jobs on campus that require specialized training, such as our help desk, and they pay above minimum wage. During the school year, U.S. citizens can work up to 25 hours per week, and international students can work up to 20 hours per week. And minimum wage, in case anyone doesn't know, is $14.25 right now, and it is raised to $15 an hour January 1st.
Julie. I want to thank all of our panelists today. We've answered lots of questions. Hopefully we've given you lots of information. We will be posting this webinar probably by the end of the day tomorrow, and it'll be in the incoming family newsletter that goes out tomorrow as well. So hopefully that will be an opportunity to review it before that big deadline on Sunday, or to contact any of our offices. Or if you ever have a question, just email orientation@clarku.edu, and we will work on getting you connected to where you need to go. So thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we hope you have a great week.